guys, Matt Lemke here with 3Gamer Goggles, gamer-goggles.com, and we are at Evil Genius's game booth during setup for Gen Con. So this is like pre-day one. It's day one for everyone who's here. And this is Dave. He's not the owner, but the president, right?
Yeah, the
owner,
president,
whatever they want. He's the guy at Evil Genius Games. And today we're going to mostly talk about Highlander and Total Recall, their two newest RPG releases. So, well, how'd you guys get started? Let's go there.
Oh man, how did the company get started?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I was a huge fan of D20 Modern 20 years ago. Whenever people wanted to play D&D, I always said, hey, let's go play D20 Modern instead. Sometimes I was successful, sometimes I wasn't.
I was not, even though I made my own game in 6th grade, so it was really bad in 6th grade. There was like 4 pages of rules. Well, we weren't that good at it.
Ah, whatever works though.
Well, it was time travel.
Yeah, so there you go.
it didn't work.
Like sliders? Like I can't wait to make a sliders game.
Yeah, maybe it was like sliders. See, there you go. There's a drop. So in Highlander, okay, he said D20 Modern.
Yeah, so what ended up happening was I ended up running into a guy named Jeff Grubb, who was one of the 4 people who made D20 Modern, and I asked him if I could buy him a beer, and we talked about how amazing that system was, and how much it needed to be upgraded to 5th edition and modern day, because back then there weren't really cell phones, back then there weren't really Amazon, you can get something delivered in a day. So we said we gotta make it, and the first answer he gave me was hell no. And then he said no, and a few beers later he said maybe, and then 2 weeks later we founded the company.
So how involved is he now?
You know, he was really involved in the early stages of it. He helped actually hire the majority of our development team.
Oh wow.
And then now he's more of a design consultant.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, Jeff's done some great work, so.
He's amazing.
Yeah, I remember his name from 2nd edition D&D, so he goes back some time. Well, we know it's D20, so what kind of changes did you make to modernize it for 5th Ed?
Oh man, we made a lot of changes because we really wanted to make it really relevant to modern day and modern day action films. So the first thing we did is we fixed all the D20 Modern problems, so like the wealth system. Back then you had to roll for whether or not you were able to achieve the acquisition of a crowbar. Now we're like, just go order it on Amazon, it'll be in your house the next day. So we made acquiring equipment really, really easy. Everybody gets a car. Everyone gets an apartment, because you know what? Everyone has a car and everyone has an apartment in modern day.
So there's a bigger emphasis on things like contraband now. Some things are much harder to get. Okay.
Well, military restricted equipment, for example, does require a little bit of finagling, maybe a little bit of negotiation, maybe a little bit of charisma in order to get that stuff. But if you want to get a hammer, you can have as many hammers as you want.
I see a character. The hammer thrower.
Yes.
All right, so Highlander. The first thing that comes to my mind is there can be only one mechanic.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're actually selling Highlander here at Gen Con. It's being released here, so this is the first chance people will actually get to see the game. And what we're really excited about was a couple fundamental things, right? One was, even though ultimately there could be only one for the game, there's a lot of time that passes between the time that someone becomes a Highlander and the time that the final game actually happens.
Let's wait. Yeah. That's a card.
Is that what that is?
I'm pretty sure that's a card. It's either that or... So, let's just go back to...
Yeah, so ultimately, the whole point about Highlander is there could be only one. And that there's a game, there's a reckoning, and there's a happening at the end of the show. But you gotta keep in mind that these immortals lived for millennia before that.
Yes.
So the story is told before that happened, right?
Right.
And so, while you're in your journey being an immortal, you gotta make friends, you gotta have a clan, you gotta have your people. Adrian Paul did in the Highlander series. And so it's all about your clan and your team as you're making your way through the adventures before the actual reckoning actually happens.
Okay, so that was actually that ties into one of my other questions, which was, how does having a party work in something that cinematically there's only one?
Yeah.
So generally, how does like 4 Highlanders in a party work?
Yeah. Well, there's got to be a little bit of story behind it, right? And so one of the ways that we make that work in adventure is there are bigger threats than each other.
Okay.
And so you're going to unite to be able to sort of fight those threats. And then maybe someday you might turn on each other, you know?
Yeah.
But until then, we have a mechanic so that every single time you kill another Highlander, you actually gain power. And that power increases over time. So part of it is that you want to be as strong as you can by the time the reckoning happens. So you're going to go and hunt out other Highlanders, and you might need help to do it, other immortals, so that you can get as strong as you possibly can for when that time comes.
And I suspect that in some ways that's a lot of what the adventures are going to revolve around.
Yeah, you know, this book actually has an adventure in it, as well as we're actually producing another adventure that we're really excited about for the con here. And what we do is we really try to go span time. So this adventure actually starts in the time of Joan of Arc.
Oh, okay.
And then you're actually protecting her ancestry between that period and modern day. And so there's a lot of time skipping that happens in this game, which is part of the beauty of it.
Okay, so that answers my question about setting. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
I did not expect it to be for the same party. That, from a GM's point of view, that can be a lot of fun. A lot of non-Highlander characters are going to come and go.
Absolutely.
So how do you balance their strengths or their experience level with the experience level of a Highlander?
Yeah, so the way we made it work was that you level up normally. So in a given sort of adventure, this one you might level up 2 or 3 times. But the way we balance it out is it's through these sort of what we call Highlander feats or immortal feats that you acquire that give you extra power. Now, the reality is you're immortal. It's going to be hard to kill you. So that sort of imbalances the game to some degree.
Yes.
But we've created a mechanic so that it sort of balances itself out. So that if you're immortal and you're really good mortal, you might actually have a chance of beheading this person.
Okay.
But that's the only way to kill him.
We already talked about beheading. Hey, that's pretty much. I presume there's a lot of heavy combat in the game.
There is, yeah. So we've got a couple really cool things. First of all, you have all the rules that we have in the Everyday Heroes Handbook around combat. So you can pull out your swords, you can pull out your gun, you can do normal combat as is. But we introduced 2 brand new things in the game which I think are really interesting. One is the decapitation rules, right? Because you got to make sure that there's a way to be able to end an immortal's life, and then what happens after that. And the second is a dueling mechanic. Because if you remember, usually it's a one-on-one fight to the death when it's immortal on immortal. So we have a really, really neat system that's built in here for the dueling mechanic. That's a lot of fun.
So you mentioned Everyday Heroes as the base. Do you need Everyday Heroes to play Highlander, or is it standalone?
You do, yeah. So what the Everyday Heroes book is, and fill this book, it's about 500 pages.
It's a monster.
And that gives you everything to be able to run a game in modern time. It gives you how to build a character in general. It gives you all your combat rules. It gives you all your hazard rules. It gives you your rules around, all the stuff that you'd want in order to play a modern game. This right here is very specific to the Highlander scenario. So it's going to give you a couple new classes. So we have something called the Brutal Warrior, which is based off the Kurgan. Okay. And what's neat about the Brutal Warrior is that they do damage even when they don't hit. Because they're so powerful that they're wearing you out across the entire battle.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a very interesting mechanic, and you got to play it. It's really fun to play.
I like that a lot, actually. My son's gonna like that.
Yeah, just you always roll damage down. The second one is the Graceful Warrior, which is based off of Duncan MacLeod, and basically you use the momentum of your opponent against them.
So those are the polar opposites.
And so those are the polar opposites. We also have a strategist in here based on Napoleon Bonaparte, because we thought it'd be really fun to have some sort of historical class built into the system as well.
And at the con, it's tomorrow, 60-player event, right?
Yeah, so on Saturday night we've got a special called the Dark Gathering, which is a 12-table event. And so we encourage people to bring their generics. If we can fit them in, we will. But it was sold out weeks ago.
Oh, really?
And then in addition to that, we have an adventure running throughout the entire con. So we've got probably about 15 tables to 20 tables of running really, really fun Highlander adventure, which is based on ancient Greece. So you start out in ancient Greece. It's called Quickening of the Aegean, and it's a lot of fun.
So the event that's on Saturday night, will there be only one at the end?
Yes, there will be only one. So the way it works is the first half of the game, you're going to work together to figure out a way to defeat the evil. And then ultimately, you're going to have to decide which one of you is going to be the one that's going to be dueling against the big bad. And I also have another surprise for you. Let's see if I can find it. We do have a prize.
Oh, is it the sword over there?
For the winner. Yeah. And so that person who is the only one at the end gets the authentic Connor McLeod authentic replica sword.
Wow, shoot. Now I wish I was playing.
And be careful because it is sharp. Not too bad, eh?
Yeah, that's not too bad for a two-handed weapon.
So there you have it.
Okay, that's all my questions for Highlander.
Yes.
So I don't have nearly as many questions for Total Recall, even though I watched
Oh, but you should.
Even though I watched it 3 times before I came here.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Is it really?
First of all,
okay, go ahead.
we entirely ignore the second film. We only use the
Oh,
Arnold
okay.
Schwarzenegger
That was
one.
actually one of my questions.
Yeah, because the reason is because what I love about that movie and what's great about it is it stands out. Like I just watched it as well and I still liked it. Was that there were so many unanswered questions at the end of that film.
That's
Like,
fair.
like where did the mutants come from? And like Martians? Like you're telling me that there's a technology out there when I put my hand on the thing, it can create atmosphere for an entire planet within 5 seconds? What other amazing alien technology exists? Where are the Martians today? And so when we licensed this property, we got the ability to explore those questions.
Oh, nice.
So one of the things we have in here is a complete mutation system where you can actually gain mutations as a character, which give you a super strong arm, or it gives you shape-shifting ability, or it gives you the ability to actually read people's minds. And it gives you a whole nother mechanic that's never been seen before in a modern day game, which is a lot of fun.
So that actually answered a lot of my other questions. One of my questions was, does everyone have memory loss?
Yeah, the second thing is that we actually expand the whole rules around memory implants, and we actually have a class here called the Memory Doctor. When in battle, they can implant memories and remove memories from you. It's kind of like an illusionist class, so to speak, which we think is really fun.
Okay, so going back to the movies and going and getting Recall done, how do other members of the party fit in? Because once again, this is another very soloistic kind of story.
Well, you've got the Resistance, right? So you got that underlying story of the Resistance and the Martian cause. And so you get to choose whether or not you're going to be part of the Martian cause and try to liberate Mars, or are you going to be on the side of the Earth and you're going to try to control it. In addition to that, you still have the mystery of the Martians that no one's ever answered. So there's a really fun Indiana Jones vibe in here, where you're excavating for Martian artifacts. And we even have a class in here called the Martian Gadgeteer, who basically can take Martian technologies and turn them into weapons. So we're having a lot of fun with all the questions that were unanswered in the film and taking it to a whole nother level.
And yeah, I was gonna say, and with what you just opened up with the licensing, there's no limit.
There's no limit. Yeah, that's what we're excited about.
I mean, there might be limits, but I mean, it's are you gonna ever maybe move beyond Mars?
Yeah, we think so. So, one of the things we did is we read the original works of Philip K. Dick and what he did in here. And he's got a lot of really fun innuendos as to what the Martians were trying to do, what their ultimate God mission is, which is fun. And you get to learn a little bit about that here. But also, did the Martians colonize other planets? Were they on Jupiter?
That's where I was going.
Were they on Mars? Were they on Saturn? We think that that's going to be a really fun story.
They're really from an asteroid, guys.
Yeah, maybe they're part of the asteroid belt, but they actually might still be out there. They might be dormant.
Interesting. What do you got going on at the show for Total Recall?
Same thing. This is a brand new release. You can buy it here at the show. This will be the first time you'll be able to buy it. But we also have a con adventure that's running all con long. that is focused on this, which is a lot of fun. It's basically you're a moonshine team. You're running moonshine between colonies, and then you get into a lot of interesting stories. So
Smugglers.
it's called Which Moon Shines the Brightest.
All right. So what else we got here? So
Well-
guys, just so you know, right now everything is ad lib. I was really only prepared for these two games.
Well, you know, we got the oldies but goodies, right? So apologize for coming off camera.
Oh, that's okay.
But you know, everyone has a lot of fun with the Crow. This is actually one of our best sellers. And you might ask yourself, well, isn't this a solo story as well?
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we did was we also worked with the developers, the producers, the licensors of the show, and we said, listen, can we do some things that are different? And the first thing we did is we said, listen, what if there was more than just one spirit guide? The Crow was one of a pantheon of animals that can inhabit you to do their bidding. And we got approval to actually do more than that. So you've got the moth, you've got the snake, you've got the mastiff, and each one of them has their own reasons for bringing you back, the cat, and their own special abilities that are related to that particular spirit animal.
That's really cool.
So you can actually be a team of Reborn, each with a different reason for being back alive, and each with different separate superpowers that are tied to the particular spirit guide that you're actually being brought back to as part of. In addition to that, we got the Soothsayer. The Soothsayer is a really fun character which can actually tell the future, has clairvoyance, and bring all that, bring the concept of magic into the modern day world.
So as a GM, how in the world do you make that work?
Well, yeah, a lot like your clairvoyance spells in D&D. But one thing that they could do, for example, is they can actually touch someone, and the person gets a vision of how they died.
Ah, Quinlan Voss.
Exactly.
Well, almost. Quinlan touched objects, not people. I guess you could say objects, people are objects.
The other one we got is Escape from New York. Now, Escape from New York is fun because this is a good old classic romp in a dystopian future.
This is your mega dungeon.
This is your this is our Absalom, or our Baldur's Gate, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a million stories in the Rotten Apple.
And you can do anything. You don't have to be the solo guy here. You can be one of the guys that's already on the island.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, the city in this case. The island.
Technically an island.
I'm going to California.
But the thing about it is that we got a lot of really unique classes. So the first thing we did is, rather than money, you actually get to use your street cred or street reputation to buy stuff. So we have a whole new wealth mechanic built into the system.
That's kind of neat.
In addition,
Everybody's got to have charisma then, to a degree.
or connections,
Or the equivalent thereof.
or reputation,
Yeah.
right? Then we also have brand new classes. So look at the Gutter Rat. This is a person who was sort of born in the streets, knows how to fight dirty. It's a roguelike class.
It even looks like she can fight.
Exactly. We got our Street Warrior who just uses dirty tactics to be able to fight people, and all sorts of other good things in here. So this is all built into this one. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds actually like a lot of fun. I would have put that above the Crow, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What you
everyone's
did
got
with
their
what you told me you did with the Crow
flavor.
sounds really good. So what's in the pipeline?
Yeah, well, so we got two more. So we got Pacific Rim, where you can actually fight kaiju and big gigantic robots. And so we actually have Jaeger rules in here, where you actually build your Jaeger, and you actually can level up your Jaeger along with your character. Not only that, but two players have to play in the same Jaeger at the same time, because of course there's the drift, and you got to be drifting.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen Pacific Rim, but I remember that.
Yeah.
That's got to be interesting.
It makes a really fun mechanic. The second one, then the last one we have for sale here, a lot of tension, and storytelling,
Yeah.
is we've got the Kong Skull Island. What I love about Skull Island is everything on the island is trying to kill you. And so you're just trying to figure out how to survive on it.
Yep. That's a big dungeon too. Mega dungeon.
It's a really good dungeon, exactly. Really
How many
good.
people actually get off the island?
It depends on you. It depends on what kind of relationship you end up with Kong. So Kong is not a playable character. He is a godlike figure like Tiamat. but you can actually accrue Kong sympathy points that you could use in order to get him to do stuff.
There you go. You have to be a trainer.
Exactly.
That's actually a really cool mechanic. I mean, that keeps Kong where he's at, and if you want to live, you have to basically befriend him. I like that. That's a totally different kind of tension.
Yes, indeed. And so next year, we're really excited for a couple reasons. One is we have 2 adventure paths coming out, one for Pacific Rim, one for Kong. It'll actually be 100 hours of gameplay, complete with pawns and map tiles and all sorts of other great things. And then in addition to that, we're going to be announcing 4 more cinematic adventures, so we're going to keep rolling out cinematic adventures every single year.
They already told you one.
But I'll tell you, that's not one of them, but they are really fun, really exciting, and they really stretch the concept of role-playing games. And then, of course, we're going to create some starter boxes so that people can play these games if they're like a board game player and they're not really into D&D, they can actually pick it up and play.
Okay. That's a good idea. I mean, beginner boxes are amazing, I think. I mean, you shouldn't have an RPG system without a beginner box, probably.
And also with these, right? Someone just might love Pacific Rim.
I mean, for a newbie, that's intimidating.
It's intimidating. You might like Pacific Rim, but never play the D&D game, so you're probably not going to want to jump right into this. So we're going to give you an opportunity to play into it.
I see miniatures back there. What are you guys doing with those?
Yeah, so...
that one's Pacific. That's all Pacific Rim, isn't it?
There's some Pacific Rim and some Kong.
Okay.
So what I will tell you is we got some really, really exciting developments coming out that have not yet announced. Each day of the con we'll be announcing a couple new product lines, and then after that we'll be announcing stuff along the way till the end of the year. So stay tuned for what we're going to be announcing across the con.
We can do that. Anything you want to add?
No, I hope you guys get a chance to visit us, see what we have to offer. We've got over 113 events coming on to the con, so perhaps there'll be a chance for someone to try the game, demo the game, or see what it's all about.
All right. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Meet the Nibbles, who's gonna go down. She just decided not to go down my back, so we'll do this for her so she's comfy. Thanks for watching my video, and I appreciate it. Please hit the like button and share it if you know somebody who might be interested. And of course, there's always Twitter and the Facebook thingy, and soon I have a newsletter coming. That'll be down there or in a link below, and my kitty cat loves that idea. So anyway, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, subscribe. Be a part of my community, our community. Let's make it grow together. See you guys at a con somewhere, or a local store, or if I'm driving through the country, maybe a game club. I don't know, you're not going to go knock down my camera. Bye, guys.